Hello everyone and welcome to my Coronation Street official today. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Tonight's storyline isn't just dramatic, it's the kind that stays with you long after the credit rolls. Coronation Street has once again pulled viewers into a whirlwind of emotion, tension, and moral conflict with a storyline that centers on Theo and Todd in a way that feels both explosive and deeply personal. What started as a slow-burning connection between two individuals has now erupted into something far more complicated. As a secret carefully hidden for so long finally surfaces, and when it does, it doesn't just shake their relationship, it rattles the entire street. From the very beginning, Theo has been an intriguing presence, calm on the outside, reserved, maybe even a little distant, but never fully understood. There was always something beneath the surface, something not quite adding up. And as Todd grew closer to him, emotionally invested and genuinely trying to build something meaningful, those subtle cracks began to show. And then came the moment everything changed. Todd discovers the truth, a truth so serious, so heavy, that it forces him into an impossible decision. A decision that doesn't just affect Theo, but defines who Todd is. And when Todd chooses to call the police, the storyline shifts from emotional tension to full-blown fallout. Let's really sit with this for a moment. Because what makes this storyline hit so hard isn't just the reveal, it's the everything that led up to it. Coronation Street didn't rush this. They took their time layering detail upon detail, letting us live in that uncertainty. Theo wasn't introduced as someone obviously hiding something sinister. In fact, that's what made it so effective. He came across as composed, someone who had control over himself, someone who maybe just preferred privacy, and honestly, who doesn't. At first, his guarded nature didn't feel suspicious. It felt human. But then those little moments started creeping in. The kind you almost miss if you are not paying attention. A pause that lingers, that, uh, that just a bit too long. A change in tone when certain topics come up. A look in his eyes that suggests he is somewhere else entirely. You could feel it building, even if you couldn't quite name it yet. And Todd, this is where it gets even more intense. Todd wasn't observing all of this from a distance. He was in it. Emotionally invested, he cared. That's what makes his journey so compelling, because as those inconsistencies in Theo's behavior became harder to ignore, Todd wasn't just uncovering a mystery, he was confronting the possibility that somehow his trusted might not be who he thought they were. Imagine how that feels. You are building something with someone, letting your guard down, opening yourself up, and then suddenly pieces don't fit anymore. That kind of realization doesn't hit all at once. It creeps in, it nags at you, it keeps you up at night. And when Todd finally uncovers the truth, it's not just shocking, it's devastating. Not because it's unexpected, but because deep down, part of him probably already knew something was wrong, but knowing something is off and actually facing the reality of it, those are two very different things. What really stands out is how the show portrays Todd's reaction. It doesn't immediately explode, it doesn't act recklessly. Instead, you see him thinking, processing, struggling, and that internal conflict. That's where the story becomes something more than just drama. Because now Todd has a choice. And it's not a simple one. It's not black and white. On one side, there's loyalty, compassion, the connection he built with Theo. On the other, there's responsibility, morality, and the weight of what this secret actually means. I can't believe he had to make that call. I mean, think about it. How do you even begin to process something like that? One moment you're trying to understand someone, the next you are deciding whether to turn them in. And when Todd chooses to call the police, that moment doesn't feel triumphant. It doesn't feel heroic. It feels heavy. It feels uncomfortable, like something has shifted in a way that can't be undone. That single action sends shockwaves through everything. Suddenly, this wasn't just about a hidden past. It's about consequences, real ones, legal ones, public ones. And Theo, this is where things were truly unraveled. The version of him we have seen, the controlled, composed individual, starts to crack, and what emerges underneath is far more complicated. Maybe even darker. It's like watching someone's carefully constructed identity fall apart in real time. I can almost feel the tension in every scene after that. The way people look at him, the way the atmosphere changes. Because once a secret like that is exposed, there is no going back to how things were ever. And the ripple effect, this is where Coronation Street really excels. Because it's never just about two characters. It spreads, it touches others, it raises questions, it forces everyone to involved to reassess what they thought they knew. And the show doesn't give us all the answers right away. It lets the uncertainty linger, it makes you question everything. How long has this been hidden? Who else might have known? What else is still buried but beneath the surface? That suspense, that slow reveal is what keeps you hooked. Because every new episode feels like it's peeling back another layer. But at the heart of it all, it always comes back to Todd and Theo. Their relationship, whatever it was, is now hanging by a thread. Trust has been shattered, and once that happens, it's incredibly hard to rebuild. Even if there's understanding, even if there's forgiveness, something fundamental has changed. And Todd is not walking away from this unaffected, not even close. Because doing what you believe is right doesn't mean you walk away feeling okay. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes it leaves you questioning yourself, replaying the moment over and over again, wondering if there was another way. What makes this storyline so powerful is how it refuses to give easy answers. It doesn't tell you who's right or wrong. It puts you in that uncomfortable space where you have to decide for yourself. Todd's decision to call the police is being debated for a reason. Because it sits right at the intersection of morality and emotion. On paper, it might seem like the right thing to do, but emotionally, it's far more complicated than that. And that's the brilliance of it. This isn't just about exposing a secret, it's about what that exposure costs. Trust, relationships, identity, all of it gets caught in the fallout. Theo's situation also opens the door to something deeper. What drives someone to hide something so significant? Fear, shame, survival. It makes you wonder whether the secret itself is the whole story, or just a part of something much bigger. And the consequences? They are only just beginning. Legal trouble, social judgment, emotional breakdowns. This storyline has the potential to ripple across multiple characters and arcs. But perhaps the most significant impact is internal, because both Todd and Theo are now facing versions of themselves they may not fully recognize, and that kind of transformation, it doesn't resolve overnight. Personally, I think Todd's choice wasn't about courage or betrayal. It was about pressure, the kind that builds quietly until there's no easy way out. And in that moment, he didn't just expose Theo, he changed himself too. And that shift could be the real story we are only just beginning to see. What really stays with me is how quickly trust can collapse. One decision, one phone call, and suddenly everything you believed about someone feels uncertain. But here is the deeper question. Was Theo only hiding a secret, or was he hiding who he truly is? And let's be honest, if you were in Todd's position, would you have made that call? Or would you have kept quiet just a little longer? And if Theo had opened up sooner, could any of this have been avoided? Or was this outcome always inevitable? Looking ahead, I have a feeling this isn't the end of Theo's story. Not even close. Because secrets like this rarely come alone. And there may be more layers still waiting to surface. Once that could flip everything we think we know all over again. And as for Todd, the emotional fallout might hit harder than the truth itself. Because living with the consequences of your own decision, that's a different kind of weight entirely. And I'm not sure he's ready for it. So now the real question isn't what happens next, it's who these characters become because of it.